Jumpers and starters, this is internet personality Vangelus, and last week I found precisely one Wave 4 Titans Return Deluxe sitting on an otherwise barren Toys R Us shelf, and his name is Topspin. And when I say last week, at this point, that's probably far enough in the distant past to not really matter anymore. This classic Jumpstarter has piled onto the late G1 love train that Titans Return has become, and we saw that his twin brother is confirmed to be coming right behind him later this year, so let's see if the Wrecker siblings will be worth the purchase. The blue siblings, not rack and ruin. Spoiler alert, yes they will. Topspin's Titan Master is Freezeout. I dug around a little. Some people think he might be a Stakeout homage. I feel like he's a tiny Topspin. We can all be correct until someone finds out the design truth, and then we can begin the purge. Anyway, he's a fully unpainted Titan Master robot, and it still bums me out to see that, but at least there's paint on his backpack, because it makes him into a fantastic Topspin head. Not only are there 3 critical paint applications, but also the faceplate is wide enough to look more like a big helmet than a faceplate stuck onto a tiny folded man. Finally, that visor, it's metallic blue. That pleases my palate. Delicious. Freezeout can go into a spacious and detailed cockpit that's oddly hard to get open without moving stuff out of the way, and that's not the only change made to Topspin's vehicle mode. This design takes all the basic tenets of your basic G1 Topspin and then lays them onto a much better looking personal aircraft that still totally looks like Topspin at a glance. Silver forks up front and the red and silver paint on the wings are total visual callbacks, along with the white and blue plastic colors. The whole redesign is balanced so well, and I love the quadruple giant boosters in back. There's even a fold-away front landing gear, and a display stand-compatible peg hole that either mode can use to hook up with Tamashii stages or the Masterpiece track stand. Topspin's silver guns have special tab connections to mount onto the wings, and in my opinion, the vehicle doesn't look complete until you've plugged them into place. There are also 5mm ports on either side of the rear section, and a single Titan Master foot peg on the silver-painted parts of each wing. Topspin's guns can connect together to form a turret or chair gun, but while there are 2 tabs to go into the 2 slots on the Titan Master's shins, the fit is not even remotely snug. Also, the unified chair gun looks like a giant engine, and I'm sad that I can't plug it onto Topspin's rear section to look like some kind of Go Faster field upgrade. So, I thought Trigger Happy was going to be my new happy place for a while as far as Deluxe Titans Return transformations are concerned, then Topspin came along. First, the front of the vehicle opens up and compresses in a fairly interesting way, and then Trigger Happy's horizontal swivel to waist swivel trick happens, only it somehow feels even better this time. I think it's the way that the waist unclips from the neck and reclips onto the stomach. But then, the legs simply extend in theory. In fact, they use some very cool mass placement to go from a big solid-looking box into a pair of slightly slimmer and equally solid-looking legs. And then, the arms just don't stop! Instead of a simple extend and fist flip, there's a gap-preventing cover flap that not only allows the fist to deploy, but also allows the bicep to hinge and extend out. So the forearm contains both the fist and bicep in vehicle mode, and in both modes, it hides the storage area with an aesthetically pleasing cover. And then the neck socket is kind of tight. In fact, if you don't know how to get the pressures applied just right, Freezeout's head keeps getting turned sideways. If you simply can't get it to work, turn his head 180 degrees and it'll hold in there just as tightly. Just like his vehicle mode, Topspin's robot form has all the callbacks I need to know who he is, while doing tons of modernization that remains in the spirit of his clunky old G1 self. His colors are as spot on as before, and now we're treated to a wonderful asymmetrically sculpted chest. He's got thick, boxy hero robot proportions, proud shoulder wings, and my god, I love the shapes and angles of the backpack formed from his cockpit and nose cone prongs. Also, this guy looks clean from every angle, with minimal modern Transformers hollowness. In fact, I only get tweaked by it in one case, and that's the lack of flank torso mass. It's not blaring, but also not hidden, that his mighty chest kind of ends suddenly as you look around the side of his upper body. Topspin's got twin handguns in gorgeous silver paint, which puts a smile on my face, and thanks to the third peg that's formed when you combine them, he can also hold the engine block chair gun super weapon that they turn into, and shoot 4 lasers at the same time. Titans Return Topspin has a Titan Master neck joint. It can look left and right, unimpeded. It can look up and down just a little bit. However, unlike a lot of the other guys I've looked at, he can't actually tilt his head side to side all that well, I think because there's so little clearance around the neck clip. He's got ball socket shoulders, which are fully immovable. There's a cut in the top, so you can use that to hinge them outwards. And then if you wanted to, there's another hinge up here but, you know, this is getting a little bit smell my own underarms levels of crazy. There's a bicep swivel. That was the sound of this flap. He's got double jointed elbows technically, but the lower joint is really all you need, because that lower joint goes all the way up here. And it doesn't really destroy the look. If you look down here, you can see the hollow spot that the flap is covering, but that's about it. Like, there's even a little bit of stuff here to visually fill in the gap from the side. And then if you want, you can still use that double joint for the extra little touch of curl, but if you don't use that top joint, you're still getting that much. So that's really darn cool. Sadly, though, no wrist swivels to speak of. I was seeing if maybe there was one, but that's not a wrist swivel. That's almost ripping the hand out of the peg. From the waist down, this guy's got a waist swivel. Hooray! He's also got ball socket hips with cuts in the top like his shoulders, so he can kick, he can mule kick, and he can do the full Van Damme, baby. His... I almost called them biceps, but they're thighs, and they have mushroom peg swivels, and they feel pretty good. Like, it's a very pleasant tension and smoothness. His knees can bend the full 90 degrees, and then if you use the transformation joints inside of there, you don't really get much extra. You'd have to, like, open the back part up, but even then you get less. You can't double joint his knees, unfortunately. You can also make his knee pads flip forward a bit more. I prefer them up here because they're here for vehicle mode, and then if you go real gently you can feel a very slight kind of detent right there, so I feel like that's where they're meant to go. His feet can not really tilt forward like on their transformation joint because the stuff inside starts moving to fill space, so you need to move that out of the way to do that. I don't think it's really worth it. They are sculpted in a slight A stance, so this dude can stand dead solidly. He poses really well. Topspin accomplishes just about everything Trigger Happy did for me in his articulation, except it feels all a little better. Topspin is a tour de force of a Transformers Deluxe that totally dethroned Trigger Happy as soon as I got him in hand. Would you believe that the Toys R Us I found this guy at was otherwise devoid of Deluxes? Somebody bought everything except the Topspins. The fools. Or the beautiful, generous people, I don't know which. Both of his modes are badass upgrades to the G1 original, and the transformation goes from the cool moment of his cockpit and nose cone, to the cool moment of the torso and waist spin, to the cool moment of the mass shifty leg extension and compression, to the cool moment of the forearms cover flapped on furlage. It is literally a chain of cool moments with next to no filler or boring stuff whatsoever. The only reason to possibly skip this figure is some kind of dislike of the aesthetic, or maybe you have a crushing disdain for the Jumpstarters that borders on clinical. This is by far my favorite figure in Titan's Return to date, and I am so pleased that his retooled sibling is already confirmed. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus. I'm still getting over the news that my two favorite Deluxes are confirmed for large-scale retools into Twin Twist, Misfire, and Slug Slinger. I thought getting my desired 7 Headmasters by Wave 2 was the peak of Happiness Mountain, but oh, how little I even knew.